What is up, Scream Team? Zach Cherry here, and before the release of Scream 6, I just wanted to go over all of the characters in the entire franchise and give it a final ranking before I incorporate the new Scream 6 characters. So we're gonna do that today, and I've got them in a tier list. As always, we've got the tiers from best to worst, but it starts with it's an honor, pretty self-explanatory. These are the best of the best. Then we have you can't save them all. These are the ones that just don't quite make the cut. Below that is still in character. I guess these are the ones whose character I'm kind of iffy on. Like, they're not terrible, but I have questions. Then we have don't you watch scary movies? And you know, that question is pretty self-explanatory. These characters are not great. They're not bottom tier because there is potential for them to start watching scary movies, but the worst of the worst are going to be, why are you even here? They're the hopeless ones. There's no saving them. So I'm just gonna go in alphabetical order here. I've got 70 characters altogether. These are essentially going to be everyone who's, you know, gets a picture credit at the end of each movie, plus some other characters who are notable enough. Like, I think the main criteria is that you have to have a name. I did not include Tori Spelling, who plays herself, just because she is shown on a TV screen. Like, I don't think that counts as her actually being in the movie. I haven't included Maureen Prescott or the ghost of Maureen Prescott, because I'm mostly just looking at things that are playing out in real time with the franchise. But with the caveat that I am including the Stab 6 and 7 characters with the opening of Scream 4. So make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and even let me know in the comments down below what your ultimate ranking is of all the characters. But let's start off here with Amber Freeman, and this is going to trigger a lot of people, but I do not care because I just cannot stand this character. There's this storyline that's presented earlier on before she's even unmasked that really suggests that her and Sam don't like each other. Like, there's a lot of bad blood there. And by the end of the movie, when she's revealed as the killer, none of that is ever brought up. Like, none of it works within the context of her being the killer or targeting Sam. So it was more just like extra stuff that the writers put in there that really meant nothing. I've already gone over this many times before, but I think the motive is pretty weak. And I just feel that her energy, like that manic, like, I'm the killer, I'm like so excited about this, it just feels very counterfeit to me, like just compared to the other killers once they're revealed. Like, there always is like a sense of mania, but with her, she's just a killer for the sake of being a killer. So then we have Officer Andrews, and I mean, like, don't you watch scary movies? This is a non-character, but I wouldn't put him in the very bottom because, you know, he does get a little bit to do. And we have Angelina, and Angelina is a missed opportunity for me. I think I would put her still in character. I would put her below Amber. Obviously, there's a lot of mystique behind her. Like, I feel like just with the fact that she was supposed to be one of the killers originally, I think that if she was, I would probably put her above Amber, but just as it is, there's a lot of inconsistencies with this character throughout the movie that, you know, makes her one of the weaker of the Stab cast members. Perkins, again, like most of the law official characters, I'm gonna put him in Don't You Watch Scary Movies. I'll put him above this guy because at least there was more of a character there, but like, he's just a comic relief character that's not even funny, but more so like tonally against everything else in the movie. Himbry, I'm gonna say you can't save them all. Even though he doesn't really serve a purpose other than to kind of like pad the kill count, even though he wasn't originally supposed to die, like, he does everything that he's supposed to do. He is a great non-Ghostface killer antagonist, and I feel like a lot of these movies don't have enough villains who are not the killer, just people who are bad apples that exist in the franchise. Bianca, played by Carrie Fisher, just a small cameo. I'm gonna put her in You Can't Save Them All. I'm gonna put her above Himbry because this is someone who, like, I wish she had a larger role. Like, a lot of these characters, they're used just enough where if they were in it any less, I'd probably miss them, and if they were in it any more, it would feel like too much. But with Carrie Fisher, she should have been a full-fledged cast member that had a lot more to do with this movie, despite the fact that she's just kind of like a low-level Sunrise Studio employee. Billy Loomis, obviously I'm gonna put this in the top tier. People were annoyed with me last time because I didn't include him in the top tier because I was being very selective about who was going in the top tier, but I do agree he is a top tier character and killer, one of the best Ghostface. In regards to his appearance in Scream 5 as like the apparition, I actually don't mind it. I like, at first first I was kind of thrown for it, but I appreciate it. And I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do in Scream 6, if there's going to be more visions of past Ghostface killers. I wouldn't mind it, as long as it's specific Ghostface killers. Unless they get all of them together somehow, that would be crazy, but I don't see that happening. Sheriff Burke. I actually like Sheriff Burke. I think that, you know, he's not like the typical like Perkins or Andrews. He's a much better character. Is he better than... He's better than Angelina. Is he better than Amber? You know what? I like him better than Amber. I hate Amber. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. What I like about Burke, though, like, he's not in it a whole lot, but every time that he is on screen, whether he's being a red herring or just, like, throwing snark back at Billy's dad, he's just one of those, like, small players that does exactly what he needs to do and brings so much life to the movie, just in regards to, like, the peripheral aspects of it. Casey Becker is an honor. The thing with Casey is there's not a lot of character per se, because, you know, we just see this 13-minute part of her life at the very end of it. But I think that, you know, like, Drew's acting is impeccable here. Like, this might be one of the greatest performances of her career. And the fact that, like, Scream as a franchise is just so well known for, like, her character is really the first thing that most people think of when you mention Scream. Chad, you know what? Okay, for now, I'm gonna put him in You Can't Save Them All, above Carrie Fisher. I think that, you know, I'll see where he lands after the new movie, because it definitely seems like they're going to give him more to do, and I'm happy for that. He was kind of underwritten in Scream 5, but Mason Gooding, who, first of all, why is he not my boyfriend? But he did everything with such a small role to bring so much heart to it, to make it like him feel like a real character. I don't know, I really like him. He's just a very charming and charismatic, probably person in real life, but, you know, it also reflects into the performance. Charlie Walker, I'm coming around to him a little bit more. Like, he's, you know, not as bad as I felt like before the release of Scream 5. Like, I don't think he's the worst killer. There is an interesting, very complex character with him. Like, in comparison to Amber, who I feel is just, like, really two-dimensional as, like, a killer and a character. Charlie has a lot of depth, just in terms of, like, what is going on in his head. It's just his psyche. But, you know, I think that there's a lot more to him that, you know, he deserves credit for. Chloe, just the Kristen Bell cameo, I'm gonna say, don't you watch scary movies. Nothing against her, the character, just the fact that it is a stab character, and I don't really like the opening for Scream 4 all that much with all the fake outs. But then we get to Christine from the opening of Scream 3, and I'll say still in character. I'll put her below Burke. Like, I think she does, like, a good job with, you know, what the scene is supposed to be. Like, she's kind of forgettable, but there's not really a whole lot to say about her. So, moving on. Cici, Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like, automatically, I'll put her in You Can't Save Them All. Sarah Michelle Gellar is, you know, if I was ranking everything here just, like, based on the actor, you know, the person, like, Sarah Michelle Gellar would be at the top of the list. Like, Sarah Michelle Gellar is my teen idol, you know, from back in the days. Like, everything that she was doing in the late 90s was amazing. And I wish she was in the movie more. I'm glad that Wes Craven did expand her role and give her the stuff in the film class. But I think, like, if there are any issues with Cici, it's just the fact that she's kind of, like, on this island of her own. I mean, it would have been nice if, you know, she had more of a connection with, you know, the main friend group, or, you know, we saw something there that, you know, had more of an effect on the plot moving forward after she died. But, you know, as it is, I still appreciate her in this movie. Cotton Weary is... It's an honor. He might be at the very bottom of It's an Honor, because when you really look back in retrospect, he's not in the franchise a whole lot. You know, he first shows up in the first movie. I wouldn't even call that his first appearance, because it's just on the TV. But everything he does in Scream 2 is amazing. Like, he's the perfect red herring. I'm not a huge fan of the idea of, you know, opening scene kills with past characters. I'd rather it just be new characters. So, you know, I do wish that he was in Scream 3 more. But, you know, thinking of Scream 3, there's not really a whole lot that he could have done in that movie outside of being a victim. So I think he served his purpose to the umpth degree, and for that reason, he is an honor. Derek, Feldman, you know what? I'll put him in You Can't Save Them All, because every kind of instance of the movie that he's involved in is important to, you know, Sidney's arc on the grand scheme of things. And I mean, just for Jerry O'Connell, bless his soul for getting up on those cafeteria tables and having to sing that song. And I know a lot of people hate that part of the movie, but I think it was, you know, very charming. And it does play into more of the context of Mickey's psychological manipulation later on. So there is merit to all of it. Yeah, I'll say, you know, You Can't Save Them All. Dewey is an honor, obviously. I'm gonna put him, you know, he's above Billy. Come on. You know, Dewey is just Dewey, like you love him. Hopefully like Chad will be the new Dewey, but Dewey is just like, he brings a certain essence. Like he's the heart of these movies, and you know, that's why it'll be interesting to see where they go with Scream 6 without that kind of pillar. But as it is, I think it's appropriate that he kept surviving as long as he did and coming back, because he deserved to be part of that trio. Then we have this guy who, his name is Farney, or Deputy Farney. I don't know if they ever said what his name is. And the only reason that he's even on this list is because the actor is listed in the end credits, of Scream 5. And I mean, not to denigrate his role in this, because I'm sure that was a huge accomplishment for the actor to be included in this, but you know, for him to be like credited is like, they may as well have just like added expelled teen number 2 in Scream 1, like the blood is too red guy, because that is essentially probably more like, I remember that character more than I remember this deputy. So sadly, why are you even here? Gale Weathers is, obviously it's an honor. Gale is probably the best character of this franchise. Like, she's the most complex character. She's the one that has the most interesting arc from, I mean, movie to movie, but like really beginning to end. Like, everything that Gale does is just incredible. Everything Courtney does is incredible, but you know, just Gale Weathers herself. And I love the fact that, you know, unlike Sidney, who is a character who's not really defined by what is going on in the movie, it's just like the Ghostface murders, Gale is. And Gale kind of runs towards all the murders every time they happen, because that's just in her nature. So it does make sense that she's in the new movie and Sidney is not, because this is Gale's life at this point. And just with my own personal obsession with Scream and the Ghostface killers and all that, you know, I can relate to Gale on that level of obsession. So Gale Weathers gets top honor. Then we have Gus Gold, the drama teacher, and I love this guy. David Warner, by the way, great character actor who sadly just passed away very recently. He was in Titanic. If you've seen Titanic, you will know. And he was in The Omen. I really like Gus. You know, I wish we saw more of him. I like Gus more than Himbry, because Gus is kind of like a good mentor for Sidney. Just like that conversation that they have, of just kind of like her realization of her strength. Like, she didn't really know who she was yet, or just like how to navigate through life as this survivor. And by the end of it, you know, she finds that, and it was just nice that Gus was kind of the one that led her to that. Hallie. You know, Hallie, I do really like Hallie. I feel like I've been hard on Hallie in the past, but I do think that, you know, Hallie does serve a really good purpose. I'll put her below Cici though. Hank Loomis, you know, why are you even here? But also, like, don't you watch scary movies? Because I do love just him even showing up and being there. I'll put him below Kristen Bell, because I love the fact that he's just like this terrible absentee parent who, you know, shows up for the one scene to basically just be this like Billy apologist. But this is an example of a character that I didn't need to see any more of, or any less of. Like, he was used just perfectly. Jennifer Jolie is, where do you put Jennifer? Jennifer is below Billy. You know, you can't undersell Billy Loomis as the killer, but Jennifer is a force to be reckoned with, and she really is the saving grace of Scream 3 for a lot of people. Parker Posey as Jennifer is just like the comedy, because everything that she's doing is comedy gold, and I think that she plays off of Courtney Cox really well. This is a character who I wish she survived. Like, bring her back, like retroactively unkill her, and or even just, you know, if you have to show new stab footage, get Parker Posey back to film scenes of Gale. Like, that would be amazing. Then we have Jenny Randall, and why are you even here, honestly? Like, the opening for 4 is really harsh. Each segment of it gets, like, worse and worse. Like, those characters get worse and worse as they go through that. Like, by the final ones, like, the Jenny and Marnie are just terrible. And, I mean, like, just in terms of, like, putting her above or below this guy, like, I expect so much more from the opening performance that this was just a huge disappointment. Jill Roberts, you know, like, I really love Jill. And I've made comparisons to how she's kind of like the Eric Cartman from South Park of the Scream franchise. And I love that about her. I think that Jill works more on a comedic level than serious. And I think that everything we see of Jill throughout most of Scream 4, when she's still being the tortured cousin of Sidney, none of that works for me. Like, I don't like any of that. But once she is revealed as the killer and does her self-mutilation and all the stuff at the hospital afterwards, just kind of like clinging on to that hope, not even hope, but just that she, you know, needs to get away with it, even though there's clearly no chance in hell that she's getting away with it. But that tenaciousness and persistence of just continuing on, I appreciate that. I really love that. It cracks me up every time. Then we have Joel, and Joel is a great character who, you know, not enough people talk about. I would say that Joel is, I don't want to like let my love of Sarah Michelle Gellar like cloud my judgment here, because I would probably put Joel above Cici. Like, he's just that good. The only like thing that, you know, maybe works against him is the fact that he does run away, like he does leave. He's, you know, a survivor, but like it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like he's you know, the smartest person in any of these movies, but he also doesn't like really earn that survival. Like, he didn't have to like fight back against anyone. But, you know, I still love him. John Milton, he's awful. He's Don't You Watch Scary Movies. I would put him, I'll put him below Kristen Bell, but above Billy's dad. Lance Henriksen is, you know, such a renowned like horror sci-fi veteran that, you know, I would expect him to do a lot more, but just the character himself is just, you know, kind of skeezy and not a great person. But, you know, even then I would have liked a little bit more. Joshua Wallace, possibly. I like this guy. I like that he's kind of like the snarky detective sidekick. This might be controversial for some people. I'll put him below Himbry, above Derek. He just amuses me. Like, I wanted more from him as well. Like, all these like smaller characters that should have been in the movie more. Judy Hicks. I like Judy, but I also like love to hate her at the same time as well. That I'll probably put her in You Can't Save Them All, because she was really underutilized in 5 a lot. Like, even if they had left in her deleted scene with Dewey, that was still not enough Judy that should have been in the movie. And I mean, she's also kind of like this antagonist to Gale, so that like automatically makes me team Gale. But when it comes to Kate Roberts, why are you even here? I'll put her above Farney, because I feel like there are like little nuggets of just like greatness from what little we see with her. Like, Mary McDonnell probably could have done a really good job if, you know, the role had been expanded to where it originally was supposed to be when Lauren Graham was still cast in the role. But as it is, it's just like, why are you even here? None of the parents are ever there, so why is she there just to, you know, be on screen for a minute and a half and die? And then we have Kenny, and he's kind of like borderline a non-character, but I think that he is memorable enough and serves his purpose, you know, for who he is. I might actually put him above. I don't want people to like think that I hate Derek, but I'll put him above Derek. Then we have Kirby, and this is a no-brainer. Kirby is going in. It's an honor. I'm gonna put her below Cotton. This might get reevaluated with 6. We'll see where things go. I mean, it might push her down more, it might put her up more, but the problem with Kirby, if there is a problem, it's that she's kind of this character who, you know, is really cool and we love her, and she kind of embodies all of these qualities of characters that we've seen in the past. But unlike Sidney, there's a level of her that just feels like insensitive, that just does not feel authentic to the script, if that makes sense. But at the same time, there's so much greatness there, there's potential for more, and I'm glad that she's retroactively really been brought back to life that I'm pleased. Then we have Chief Hartley, and I don't want to say why are you even here, because I mean, like, we know why he's there. He's the head police chief in charge in Scream 2, but he doesn't really do anything. Liv is why are you even here again. I'm gonna put her below Jenny, and the reason for this is, like, had they not included her in the movie, like, just kind of like scrapped this character altogether, they could have fixed so much with the script, because Scream 5 has a lot of plot holes and a lot of padding, and some of that has to do with the fact that this character exists with Vince, who's another like underwritten character, but had they maybe changed it instead that Amber was Vince's ex-girlfriend and Vince was kept alive until the end of the movie and they all went to Vince's house for the party, which would make all the sense in the world, seeing as how Vince is a mocker. He's Stu's nephew, so that house would still be in the family. That would have been so much better, and there would have been this character of Vince floating around to be a red herring for the rest of the movie, but they just have Liv in there to just be like, oh, I dated him. It literally doesn't go past the next scene at the bar, and every time she's on screen, I don't know if this is the writing or the performance, like I never want to say anything bad about an actor or actress, but there's just so much inconsistency. Like, she's not the same person from one scene to the next, and it really bugs me. She has more to offer to the movie than, someone like Jenny, but I can't reconcile with the fact that this character did not need to exist. Whereas, like, a character like Jenny for an opening scene did. So that's why Liv is currently at the bottom for me. And then Lois, Rebecca Gayheart, I automatically, like, still in character. Because, you can't save them all, but I think that what these sorority sisters bring, I really love that. I would put them below Charlie. Actually, I'll just go ahead and preemptively add Murphy. I'll put Murphy higher, though, because I think that Portia de Rossi in that role, just like, she has all the best lines of the duo. But, Rebecca Gayheart did get to shine in Urban Legend the following year. So, there's that at least. Detective Kincaid, I was really harsh on him last time. I think that he does not deserve to be in the bottom or the second bottom. So I would put him still in character. I think that just in terms of, I'm like putting in perspective of like the police in charge, I like him less than Burke. I don't know. There's something about the forced relationship with Sidney that, never sat right with me. I think that, they probably could have done a better job of, making him a red herring or, just suspicious. And it's always awkward to me when he pops up at the end of the movie there. That should have been Jennifer in the sling with a bowl of popcorn, just being like, we're gonna watch a movie. But, I guess he's now retroactively been promoted to Sidney's husband. So, I'll put him there. Marnie, right with Jenny. I'll put her above Jenny. Like, I don't think that either of them are good at all. But based on the original opening, I think that, the one with Marnie being the kind of like the one who, gets the title card stab, that was a better scene. So that's my only reasoning for it. Then we have Martha Meeks, and I actually really like Martha. I mean, if I'm looking at it just in terms of like kooky characters, I like Martha's strange idiosyncrasies more than Judy, so I'd probably put Martha definitely above Judy, and probably above Derek, and probably above Kenny, and I'll put her below Wallace. It was really great to see her come back in 5 as well. Then we have Maureen E. And I mean, this is a purposefully obnoxious character. I don't love her, and she is kind of grating on me. And the fact that she, it's almost like, do you watch scary movies? But Jada Pinkett does like a really great job just like selling that performance of death. And that opening scene of 2 is just like unforgettable. And she's a huge part of that. I'll probably say at the bottom of that. Yeah. All right. Mickey Altieri, if you've been following my channel, you should know that Mickey is my absolute favorite Ghostface killer. Do I put him above or below Dewey? I mean, Dewey has more to do. He's been in more movies. He has tons of screen time. Mickey is like 10 minutes of a movie altogether, but what he does in those 10 minutes is amazing. Yeah, that just feels right. But he is, for all intents and purposes, like, he's my best Ghostface. I think that Mickey, just in what he does, how he manipulates Sidney, like that is a great skill for a killer to have. And I think that everything with Mickey as acting as Sidney's friend, everything he's doing makes sense within the context of who he turns out to be. And I can't say the same for Amber. So it's nice that, you know, even if he doesn't have like that quantity screen time, like he has the quality screen time. I've said that before, and it definitely still applies. So then we have Mindy. And Mindy, again, like Chad, this is another one who, you know, we'll see where she lands after 6. But as it is, Mindy's great and all, but similar to what I was saying about Kirby, there's this quality to Mindy that's kind of like, who are you? Like, why are you such a terrible person who's so like nonchalant about your friends being attacked and murdered? Like, she's just like making jokes, like she's at a party, like she's even more at home, like amidst all this chaos than, you know, Kirby ever was. Like with Kirby, I think that's just kind of like an issue with, you know, the fact that there was tons of people coming in and rewriting that script. With Mindy, this was intentional. So currently, Mindy is sitting somewhere around here. I'll put her below Cici. Mrs. Loomis is, you know, another one of the greats. Another one of my favorite Ghostface killers that I will make no apologies for. I would put Mrs. Loomis... I'll put her below Kirby. I love when the killer, you know, kind of going back to like the Agatha Christie murder mystery aspect of everything, when it's the person you least suspect, or just the one who's kind of, you would never think of them just because they're such this random like reporter in the background. And, you know, I love that, you know, when they can make the killer that person. But everything that she does bring to the role once she, you know, finally does come out onto the theater stage there is just brilliant. Like, she's just chewing up that scenery. This is the kind of like manic Ghostface killer energy that, you know, I want to see, because there's at least like reason behind it. You know, there's real motive for her to be acting a fool like that. So Mrs. Loomis, also I should say Nancy Loomis, officially. She is an honor. Then we have Neil Prescott, and I mean, I'll put him in the bottom of still in character. The thing is, like, there was so much more potential for, you know, stuff to go on there. Like, his role in Scream 1 is, like, it's pretty small. I mean, both movies that he appears in. But in Scream 3, I feel like they could have done more just with that relationship between him and Sidney. But as it is, I feel like most of his staying power is more so based on how he relates to Sidney, or just, like, who he is in relation to her. So just because this is Sidney's father and a character who she loves, you know, I feel obligated to, you know, put him up higher, but, you know, realistically, this is probably where he goes. Then we have Olivia, and I think that they, you know, they had some good ideas with her, just because of this whole like angel of death, because, you know, we don't see a lot of people in the franchise avoiding Sidney or, you know, survivors because, you know, they're afraid of their, you know, their own personal safety. I think like the closest is probably Joel in Scream 2, but, you know, another like underwritten character that probably could have had more to do. Great death scene though. I'll put her between Kincaid and Christine. Phil, Omar Epps. Oh, I love Omar Epps in this. I don't know. I just like, I love his energy and his like the humor he brings to the role as well. You know, like he has an even smaller role than Jada Pinkett. That I would have loved to see him, you know, in more of the movie. But, you know, as an opening scene player, he knows the assignment. I'm gonna put him below Carrie Fisher. And then Anna Paquin or Rachel, same. You know, really like I'll put her below Chloe though, because she just has like really negative opinions about horror movies. So that's the only reason. And she's not the killer where Chloe is. Randy is, you know, it's an honor. There's definitely a void felt by his absence after 2, because he's kind of like, he's like the know-it-all. He's like the information guy. And with Scream 3 and onwards, they had to kind of like relegate that role to someone else. So it was Kincaid in Scream 3, it was Kirby in Scream 4, Mindy in 5, and nobody can really do that better than Randy. It was almost like he had to die because like he was becoming so popular, but I would put him above Jennifer. Too bad they didn't ever meet. I think that they would be an interesting pair on screen together. And then Rebecca, you know, I do appreciate the comedic performance of Alison Brie, because I think that what she's bringing to this role is fantastic. But the problem with her is that she's kind of like this Scream 3 holdover who's in Scream 4, and she's kind of contributing to just like this tonal dissonance in that movie. Whereas I think that if she was in Scream 3, if she was a character in that movie, she would have been right at home. She would have fit right in. So, I feel that she does deserve a higher placement. I don't remember where I put her below. It might have been lower, but I'm reevaluating things. I think she's gonna go below Phil. Then we have the other Scream 2 guy, Richards. And where did I put this guy? We'll just put them together. I'll put him a little bit higher because he, gets that like action hero bit. But in terms of who they are, we'll just put all the Scream 2 cops together. I'm fine with that. Richie Kirsch. Very similar sentiments of like what I said with Amber, just in terms of like, I don't like the motive. These killers are pretty lame. The thing is, like, I kind of love to hate Richie, whereas like Amber, I just kind of hate her. Richie obviously has more to do in the movie as well. Like, he's in it a lot more. I think that Jack Quaid really understood the assignment. Like, he knew exactly who this character was. And not to say that Mikey Madison didn't. Like, I want to reiterate, I'm not denigrating her performance. I just think that it comes down to the writing, and I think that the writers were very lazy when it came to Amber. And Richie, even after the reveal and all that, like, there was so much more that we could have found out about who these characters were, who these killers were. Because again, like, the motive was so weak that it left more to be desired. But I'm gonna put him higher up. I'll put him in You Can't Save Them All. I'll put him at the bottom for now. We'll see where things land when we get the new killer or killers in 6. But I'll do like a separate Ghostface ranking as well. And then Robbie, he's still in character. I'd actually put him below Charlie at this point. And I think before he was above, but now I'll put him above Amber. Actually, no. I'll put him above Olivia. Roman Bridger. This is another Ghostface killer who, I've come around to a lot more in the past years. I don't think that he's a top tier killer. I think there's many killers that I think are better than him. With Roman, he's just kind of another character in this movie. Like, I really truly believe that the killer could have been anyone in the cast of Scream 3. Like, anyone could have come out at the end, pulled off the mask, and they could have had the same motive. And not to say that, like, the performance wouldn't be the same, or just like there was an issue with Scott Foley. I think he's great, because I think that all of the Roman stuff that is great comes after the reveal. But again, like with a lot of these characters, like I just wanted more. Like maybe there just should have been more leading up to his reveal, or just like more interactions with like not only Sidney but Gale and Dewey throughout the movie, to just have him as a presence in it, because he's barely there. And when he does show up, he's just kind of like this punching bag. But I'll probably currently right now say that Roman is below Cici. Is that my love for Sarah Michelle Gellar coming through again though? Is it? No. Cici is amazing. I love Cici. I'm putting Roman right there. Then we have Adam Brody, officer, deputy. I'm just gonna put all the shitty cops here. I don't know what else to say. Sam. You know what? Here's the dilemma. Sam is going in It's an Honor. And a lot of people have been really harsh on her. I personally think that if there was any issue, it's in the writing again. I think the writers were the real killers of Scream 5. I'm just gonna say that, no offense. I'm gonna put Sam at the bottom of It's an Honor for now. We'll see what happens with Scream 6. But with Sam, this is a character who, fights back hard. And so many final girls are just kind of criticized for being, too meek, or, throwing down the knife, or just, being stupid. And Sam, once she's in the chaos, she rises to the occasion. She does not let Richie get away with all this. And, mostly I just think that she's a very misunderstood character. She's an underdog, and I'm a huge champion of the underdog. So I'm very comfortable putting her in It's an Honor. Sarah Darling, still in character is the line that's spoken to her, so I just feel like it's appropriate that she goes in this category. I'll put her below Angelina. She's just kind of an a-hole. And, I think that comparatively, if we look at like this scene in Scream 3 to the one in Scream 2 with Sarah Michelle Gellar, like that is like tense and scary because I actually care about Cici, whereas like Sarah, I don't. So it's just like nothing that happens in that moment. Like if anything, she probably could have been excised from the film sooner. And then we have Sherrie. I forgot her name for a second. Where did I put I haven't put Trudie on there yet. I like these two that I would actually put them above Amber. People are racing to the unsubscribe button right now. The writing of the opening scene of Scream 4 is not great, but I think that the best parts of the writing is in that first segment. So I'll put her there. I'll actually go ahead and add the other one to that as well. I'll just put her right next to it. I'll put her below, but that's where I think those two are. Sidney, okay. If Sidney's not number one, she's number two. I think this just comes down to the day and how I'm feeling. And currently, I'm kind of on a Neve Campbell high. Like I said before, I think that like Sidney is this great character who is not defined by the events of these movies. Shows up every new movie that Sidney appears in. She's grown as a person and has like such a rich backstory in life that we never get to actually see or hear about, but it's plainly showcased in Neve's performance. Like you can see it on her face, you can see it in her mannerisms. I don't know, I really admire that, and I really admire both of these women. Like I think that they're great, and I can't see any version of this list where they wouldn't be in the top. But I'll just say that it's alternating. One day it could be Gale. Currently it's going to be Sidney. Steve Orth, still in character, whatever. I'll put him below Neil. Steven Stone, Patrick Warburton, Putty from Seinfeld, one of my favorite shows growing up. He's, oh my gosh. Is he still in character? Is he can't save them all? Honestly, I'll put him above Judy. Stu Macher, this is also essential. I'm not like a huge Stu fan like a lot of people are. I'm gonna put him below Sam. But the thing with Stu is that like on the paper, he's not an interesting character. But everything that Matthew Lillard brings to the role, like there's so much complexities to this person. Like I feel like of all the killers, Stu is the most fascinating. And for that reason, I would say that he is an honor. Tara Carpenter. Again, like similar sentiments to Stu. Like I think Jenna Ortega has proven herself to just be this incredible force, especially like in the last year and a half, that Tara's kind of like this nothing character, but she is elevated by the performance. Again, like most of the Scream 5 cast who are coming back, like I'll have to see where they land after the new movie, but currently I'm gonna put her below Sarah Michelle Gellar, because I have been saying a lot lately that Jenna Ortega is like this generation Sarah Michelle Gellar, that I'll put her above actually. And that's not a reflection of either of the actresses, just the character, because Tara obviously gets more to do. There's more of an emotional storyline with her and Sam. But I fully expect and hope that with another movie, she could end up here. I just think that some of her story arc in Scream 5 was kind of weak. Like we could have gotten more, especially just more interactions with her and the other friends, because she's similar to Cici. She's almost feels like she's in a movie of her own. But then we have Tatum. It's an honor. Where's she going? I'll put her there. She's below Billy, above Randy. Tatum is like such a great like final girl best friend. We realistically could have had this character in her own movie where she would have been the final girl. Like she just has that much strength to her and wit and sassiness. And I have to say that Tatum's death in the first Scream is probably the most upsetting to me. And I think that she would have been a character that could have made it to a sequel and had more to do in the next movie. But unfortunately, that's a universe that we will never live in. Tom Prince, why are you even here? I'll put him at the top of why are you even here, because he's better than all these bozos. Trevor Sheldon, I'd actually say like don't you watch scary movies? This is another example of like a very underused red herring. You know, they could have done so much more with him. They're like, if you've seen like the full, I don't even want to say it's the full cut of Scream 4, at least like the stuff that was deleted, it's probably on the Blu-ray if you have it, that really fleshes out this character more and like the relationship between him and Jill, and just gives everything a lot more context, gives him a lot more depth, makes him more interesting. And, you know, not that I'm basing this off of deleted or alternate scenes too much, but I would say that Trevor is, you know, probably at the top of don't you watch scary movies. Then we have Tyson from Scream 3, and like similar to, where did I put the other Stab 3 cast? I would put him, I don't know if I'm like unconsciously just grouping characters together who are, you know, kind of like similar or in the same group or scene, but I'd say that that's a good succession of just like best to worst of, you know, the Stab cast, with Jennifer obviously at the tippy top there. But then we get Vince Schneider, played by Kyle Gallner, who I love. He needed to be in this movie more. Like, it was ridiculous that, you know, he was killed off that quickly. I'll put him around there. That seems fair. Like I said, there was so much more that they could have done with this character. And I mean, I don't want this to be based on like what could have been versus what is, because what is pretty pathetic. I mean, I might even say below John Milton at this point. Like, he's that inconsequential to the entire story. Then we have Deputy Vincent, and I mean, like, same with that guy. Just put him there. He was the worst cop of the two because, you know, he was irresponsible, left his post. There's even like the scene when you're looking at Judy's text messages, just showing how he was like shirking his responsibilities with the other deputies. So yeah, that guy sucks. And then Wes, another one who, you know, could have had more to do. I'll put him above Derek, because, you know, of like the people who survive in Scream 5, they were all my favorites, so I'm glad that they made it. But if there was one character who didn't survive, who, not necessarily that he should have, but, you know, probably could have had more to do, it is Wes. So that is going to be my final ranking. I want to thank a few of my Patreon supporters like David Madrigal, Teddy C. Munoz, and Amethyst Frost. If you want to see even more Scream related content, you can check out one of these playlists right over here. Until next time, I've been Zach Cherry, and I'll be right back.